me. My name's Katie Winters. I have been a professional esthetician for all of my life. From the day I left school, I went straight into the beauty world. And actually, over the last kind of 18 years, I progressed in different ways, being a business owner on two occasions, and also working within the business development world, where I worked for three of the world's most well-known cosmeceutical and medical grade brands out there. So I actually am here today, very proud to say that I literally have just given the keys back to my high street salon, which I have had for the last 5 years. It was a private skin clinic that has served me very, very well. But 18 months ago, I decided to start looking at means and ways of being able to leverage myself out of the clinic environment so that I wasn't always reliant on my hands doing the work. Off the back of that, I got to work. I sat with my husband. He was an amazing support. He knows that I have been an avid customer of Nu Skin for over 10 years, and I've always valued the technology and the business model that they have evolved with over that time. And after, a very intense discussion, there was a lot of courage put into my lap to say, come and bring this brand to the professional market, just like I have done with three of the other most well-known brands in the UK. So I'm here today to share that little bit of extra knowledge about technologies, ingredients, and how to apply it to your consumers. But also, I think sometimes, it's nice to know things from a scientific level, but in layman's terms as well. So I hope I do a good enough job for everybody in being able to understand that too. It gives me great pleasure to kick on with the AgeLOC Boost information now. And this is where I have seen that Nu Skin have had a huge breakthrough when it comes to microcurrent science. Microcurrent has been around for a very long time, and it has been used in skin health and skin science for all of that duration as well. But what Nu Skin have actually been able to achieve is something that nobody has ever done. And they have got patent pending rights over a new form and a new waveform of microcurrent technology. And why and what is what we're going to get into here as to why it's so different and so much more beneficial than your traditional microcurrents. So as you can see, I've listed here what are kind of your typical microcurrents, and actually the outcome of them is very much delivered and based upon product delivery. It's all about getting product into the skin in a certain way. Some of them use a direct current, which is what our galvanic spa uses. And some of them will use a pulse direct current. Some of them will use an alternating current. And what that's doing is triggering the skin at different levels in different ways that will also deliver variable results in different categories too. What we're looking at in a microcurrent is like an electrical stimulation. So microcurrent in its kind of entirety is a low-level electrical current that mimics the body's natural response signals. What we are doing is we're triggering something called your ATP production, which is found in the mitochondria of the cell. And that mitochondria is like the mummy of the cell. It's the place where all the goodness needs to come from, and it's where it kind of takes all of the messengers. It's a little bit like putting your skin cells on charge, right? And the more ATP that you can create, the better function you'll get from the cell itself. Off the back of that, you're also kind of enhancing the cell response. So you're going to be able to create collagen and elastin synthesis, and you're also going to get that repair and rejuvenation and regeneration from the cell itself if you can get that energy source up to its highest. What happens once you've created the energy is a huge thing, actually, that is very important when it comes to cell renewal and cellular function. And that is being able to have nutritional value brought in and waste removal taken away. And that's something that becomes, a bit of a metabolic issue as you go through the aging process. And that's not just chronological aging in terms of what age you are, but also just through, the natural environmental factors, as well as the external factors and the intrinsic factors that come as well with the aging process of skin and cells. So we are here to promote lymphatic drainage and blood flow, because that means you're basically feeding the cell with healthy nutrients, but then you're also detoxing it at the same time. And that's something that really starts to slow down. And with the use of technology, we're able to start to increase that effect, basically. Microcurrent also has the ability over time to improve muscle tone. And in return, that helps with skin firmness. So technology like this is very much utilized and promoted for loss of elasticity and loss of firmness. And if you think, this is almost a little bit like telling your muscles, your facial muscles, to do some weight training, okay? What we have been able to discover is we have a whole bank of research that has been done on direct currents. Now what Nu Skin have done is they've taken that research and they've started to play around with the technology. They've started to tweak how that delivery becomes and how is it actually entering into the skin. What happens if they start switching things up and down? What happens if they do it on and off? And what's the time frame that would be best in between? And what would happen if they actually increased and decreased the polarities? What they have been able to identify is that when you do start to create this interruption to the current, the skin actually responds in a better way. So you're getting all the same effects as what you would with traditional microcurrent, but more enhanced. Off the back of that, they've also identified that it's much more gentle to do this interrupted current than it would be to do a direct current. So if you think of the galvanic spa, for example, you're using active ingredients, a negative polarity in a direct wave form, and then you're switching to treatment number 2 and you're going on to a positive polarity in a direct form. Now, if you were to do that too often, and this is why the galvanic is recommended, spread out maybe 2 to 3 times a week, is so that you don't overstimulate, overreact, and create that irritation in the skin, because that can be known. What they have been able to identify by using this variable pulse microcurrent with the Boost device is that there is a much more gentle effect on the skin as well. So you can now pair this with some key active ingredients, this interrupted microcurrent that switches between positive and negative polarity every 2.4 seconds, meaning that you're going to get the best of both worlds, the tech and the ingredients, but without any overstimulation or irritation. Okay? Anyone that gets to train with me often will know that my favorite word is dynamic movement. Nu Skin have absolutely pioneered, I believe, but also, very much driven their science on creating the ability for skin to actually thrive, and your body and your cells to actually thrive, not just survive. Okay. Now, we all know that your skin is the largest organ. It requires very little. And actually, all your vital organs in your body will take most of the nutritional value to be able to thrive in their environments. Your skin is the thing that becomes the least of its worries, but that can actually leave it feeling quite depleted. And sometimes, that's where you start to see the malfunction. If anybody has got particularly good genes, or they are just very lucky, that even if they don't have the best of diets and the best of topical regimes, their skin will actually still survive pretty well without having to go down the resort of chronic, skin diseases or inflammation or anything that's adverse. Now, what we want to do is promote healthy, thriving skin that has the ability to create a lot of cellular energy, which means that you are almost creating a whole new manufacturing system for your cells. And this is where dynamic movement comes in. If you can get the cells to move, you will get them to perform. If you think about the Lumi Spa, that's a little bit like doing your 10,000 steps a day. Okay, if you create that movement and that energy to begin with, and that little bit of blood flow and circulation, you're going to trigger that metabolic rate right from the get-go. Then we move into the boost into your regime, and this becomes a bit like your HIIT workout now, right? So the doctor tells you to move your body, and then he tells you to do some, controlled exercise. And this is where the boost comes in, to get the best metabolic rate from your skin. Okay. You would then kind of go on to your galvanic spa, which would mimic things more like your Pilates, your yoga, your strength training, because that's really going to work on the elasticity in the skin. But actually, you don't need to do that quite as much, but it's a little bit more targeted. On a day-to-day basis, you have to move those cells. You have to get that blood flow and that nutritional value going. And in turn, you get phenomenal results because you're getting great nutrition in and great waste removal out, which means that you're going to start to see the benefits of that. Clinical outcomes is a huge deal, especially as a professional. If it's not clinically proven, then I can't put my face and name to it. And we know that there are more clinical studies done on the Nu Skin product and portfolios than anything I've ever seen before in the industry. I see more 100% plus clinical studies from this brand than any other that I've worked with or that I keep an eye on just for, market research. And this is phenomenal because these are third-party dermatology tested clinical graders. So I appreciate the in-house studies that Nu Skin do so that they can build on their research and their development and really get the best out of their product. But then I also hugely appreciate the outsourced clinical data that they bring, because that means I can now take that to the professional market. And anybody that is driven by science, these are the sort of informational documents that you want to be showing them. What I identified was that when you look along these, you've actually got 10 different clinically driven improvement markers. So texture, tone, even tone, brightness, pore visibility, firmness, plumpness, softness, like pore size. These are all things that every single skin condition or skin that's outliving skin actually has to deal with. Somebody might not have areas of concern across the whole board of them, but even if one person just wanted to reduce their pore size and the rest of it they thought was brilliant, then you have got phenomenal clinical data here to prove that we have the ability to do that. I always say that there is very much zero competition out there because we are so far ahead and so pioneering in our technology, plus we're patented. So that really means that nobody can come and do what we're doing. So there is no competition, but there are other comparables, and consumers will be savvy. They will be looking for the next best thing. And then I will always get asked, is this similar to this? Or is this similar to that? I bought this once upon a time. And what I would like to kind of really highlight here is the ergonomics of the Boost device and the way that it has been designed is absolutely phenomenal. You can get right under the eye area within the orbital bone. Not many devices will allow you to go up there safely. And also you can treat right over the lids, right over the brows, right over the lip area. And this for me, makes a really big deal because there are so many treatments out there that will work on the larger surface areas and not the intricate areas. And yet they're the areas that generally age the quickest and the most. So I very much appreciate the way that this product has been designed to be able to maneuver around your whole face. Of course, you can use it on back of your hands, neck, any other areas that you've got concerns that you want that, lightening, brightening and anti-aging benefit from. And that isn't something that other devices in the market can really vouch for. The device that you see on the screen here is very well known. If you even begin to start to type Nu Skin into the internet, this is one that generally comes up. And I believe that they pretty much mimicked their whole brand off the back of Nu Skin's branding. But ergonomically, they do not compare. Price point wise, they do not compare. And we know that we're about to have a huge reduction in that as well, which is just phenomenal. But, I actually do know of lots of other microcurrent devices that do not show the benefits that we show in the timeframes either. I truly believe that we are a brand that, of course, is the difference demonstrated, which I understand is a very, very strong strapline. But I go as far as saying that I don't think there is a single product in our portfolio that wouldn't give you an immediate result. Okay, there's obviously a clinical point where we need people to understand that the peak of those results will come a little bit later down the line. But within the first day to 3 days to 5 days to 7 days, you have got a phenomenal before and after straight away off the back of this, off the back of our technology and our products. Why? Because we're not just technology, we are also therapeutic dosed ingredients as well. This is key. right? Anybody can make a device, anybody can make a product, but can they make one that can go together? No. So for us, it's about creating something that has the conductivity to be able to use with the technology that we are using. And it's really important that you always educate your clients that they cannot use it with something else, because there is a conductivity element here. Okay. But the AgeLOC activating serum is probably one of the most potent and high performing serums I've ever come across. What it has the ability to do all in one product is phenomenal. First and foremost, it's brightening blend. I haven't been able to treat people with pigmentations, melasmas, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation from things like scarring as quickly and as effectively with any other medical grade brand that I've worked with than what I have been able to do here. And I've got a great picture that I can show you shortly. But what you're seeing here are three very, very well-known and very kind of well advertised ingredients that help the breakdown of discoloration. You've got niacinamide, which is an incredible component that really targets uneven skin tone, but it also has the ability to improve things like skin barrier function. Also, it locks in moisture, but it has the ability to lighten and brighten. Vitamin C, we're using the tetrahexyldecyl version in this, so it's the oil formula or the oil soluble formula that also acts as an amazing collagen synthesis stimulator and antioxidant as well. So you're getting that protection. And then you've got the sea daffodil extract, which helps to eliminate those discoloration elements, lighten, brighten, and gradually bring that pigmentation to the surface where it will then slough off if you've got good cell renewal in place as well. The plumping side of the product is a beautiful blend of different fruit enzymes and extracts. And this is also really great for being able to draw moisture, retain moisture, and give the skin that natural bounce, which is why you see that word a lot. You've also got the exfoliation and renewal side. Now, without this, you wouldn't have the softness and also the product absorption enhancement as easily. So metabolically, we want your skin to naturally start to encourage its cell turnover. And that's something that the device really does well because you're triggering that cellular energy. But you've also got this element here, which will help to superficially slough away any debris and any dead cells. And some of you may not know, but your skin can actually hold on to dead skin for anything up to 90 to 100 days. And this is an incredible way of non-mechanically being able to break down what could well be a lot of debris on the surface, meaning that the skin looks dull, it's dry, it's dehydrated. And also that's a lot of where kind of discoloration comes from. And this is something that people can use even if they have the most sensitized skin, knowing that you're going to be naturally exfoliating as well, but also just very, very gently breaking down that kind of toughened skin that just doesn't quite slough away in its natural state. Additionally, you've also got things like vitamin E, which is a phenomenal antioxidant. So it's great for protecting against free radical damage and neutralizing anything that comes into the skin. It's also very calming and soothing as well. Jojoba, which we know is a primary ingredient in our retinol serum. This is brilliant for moisturization and conditioning the skin. So it's fantastic for barrier function. You've then got two different forms of hyaluronic acid. This is your sodium PCA and sodium lactate. Hyaluronic acid can come in all different forms, low, high, medium molecular weights, but actually there's different forms of hyaluronic acid as well. And these are the salt versions. And our body's actually very much made up of different salts. And this is a means and a ways of drawing natural moisture to the skin. So it's actually getting the body to manufacture more of its natural hydrators as opposed to just occluding the skin with hydration factors that come from product. The AgeLOC blend, which we know is the staple and the $1 million bonus here, because this is actually something that blows my mind, this science. We are actually able to target the source of visible aging at the genetic level. So we are dealing with the youth gene clusters. We're able to manipulate their performance. And this is how now you will start to see long-term benefit and almost like age reversal, so to speak. As we know, we also have the ability to pair the Boost device with our Nutricentials pumps. I'm a big fan of these. I see these as very target-driven serums that have the ability to really fine-tune on some of those skin conditions and things that might just be a little bit more stubborn that the activating serum wouldn't be able to come and kind of complement or fix, basically. So the ceramide and postbiotic is particularly phenomenal for people that are struggling with a compromised barrier. Anyone that has got chronic inflammation within the skin, this is where you want to be pairing and partnering with this product. And I've got something to ask you all in a second. Bakuchiol is a retinol alternative. So it's a plant-based natural derivative, but it isn't a vitamin A. Vitamin A has potentially been led to become available in the bloodstream once it's applied topically, which means that you cannot use it on people that are pregnant or breastfeeding. So bakuchiol is an amazing alternative for anybody that may well be in that era, but it's also great for anyone that doesn't tolerate vitamin A very well. And if it's a case of their skin being a little bit sensitized, but actually, you know, they want to get the benefits of the rejuvenation that vitamin A brings, bakuchiol is an amazing product. Alternatively, and equally, doesn't have to be an and or an or, if you've got somebody that's very photo damaged, very sun damaged, very aged, you know, they may well be highly polluted in their environment, they might well be a smoker, then bakuchiol is a great product to bring into the skin for clarity and rejuvenation that you can use both morning and evening, whereas a vitamin A product can only be used at night. HAMB5, great for dehydrated skin. You're looking at using various different molecular weights of hyaluronic acid. So you're going to be deep diving into the deeper layers of the skin to correct and repair that real depleted, dehydrated skin. There's a difference between dry and dehydrated. So I'm talking like somebody that is very tight when they come out of the shower, somebody that, you know, by the middle of the day might even start to get quite oily. That's actually a real big sign of dehydration because it's your body's natural way of trying to overproduce. But unfortunately, we don't have the ability to overproduce HA very well, but we can produce oil very well. So that's a brilliant product for being able to normalize and stabilize hydration within the skin. And then you've got your vitamin C and collagen pump, which is brilliant for discoloration, lightening, brightening. There's an amazing clinical on this for pore size, general antioxidant protection, collagen synthesis too. I really encourage you all to go and take a good look at the asset library to be able to bring together some nice, easy assets that you can pass on to your customers so that they can start to choose which product is right for them. I am very proud of the marketing team, and I know one of the ladies who also sits as a product expert has created an incredible document for multiple different skin conditions where it will give you the AM and the PM regime of what to use if you are struggling with fine lines and wrinkles, discoloration, blemish skin, compromised skin, age skin. So please do go and have a good explore of the asset library as well. Now I have a big ask. For those that saw me in Marbella will know that this was a huge element for me. It came upon me a couple of days before I flew to America to the We Go Home trip that I was very gratefully awarded with. Couple of days before, I got an email from the head office and the team in the group circulation that also drew my attention straight to the discontinuations that were going to happen, and the ceramide and postbiotic serum was on there. Now, this is a product that I cannot tell you how powerful it is. There are some amazing key elements and key components to this product, and the way that it has the ability to soothe, repair, and correct skin, actually. There's a hero molecule called ectoin. Now, I actually spent £35,000 on a machine just to have the benefit of ectoin. And I used to use that ingredient. I used to push it into the skin using an LED and a cold laser. And I only ever wished that my client could walk away with a tub of Ectoin afterwards. And actually, that was the one product that turned my head about 18 months ago when I started to look at Nu Skin's product range. I was very much born and built into some of their other products from the Epoch range and also their devices. But because I'd always been partnered with medical grade skincare before, I didn't actually have a need to look at any other brand. I was falling out of love with the brands that I was working with, and it actually wasn't performing for me as well anymore. They had some formulation changes that didn't go down well with my clients. And I started to look at other things. And it was this product that came and truly like saved me and a lot of people as well when I started to get to know it. Now, I got to sit with Steve Hatchett and really give him my heartfelt plea to not discontinue this product. The girl that you can see here, and I am going to ask you all to respectfully maybe not share this slide because I haven't actually had her compliance confirmation. So I'm sure, you know, she's got a wider vision to be able to share and help many other people. And I wouldn't put this on here if I didn't think I was safe to do so. But I would just ask you to respect the request that I don't want you to share this photo, if possible, on the internet. If you want to share it in between, you know, your networks, then that's fine. But yeah, please, just for the time being, I am waiting to see if she will give me the go ahead to say that we can share it publicly, because I think it's very impactful. But this is actually the girl that I showed to Steve when I basically begged him to not discontinue this product. And you can appreciate, as a topical steroid withdrawal victim who has been on steroids for something like 24 years, she went on them when she was about 2 years old, we have changed her life purely through Nu Skin. She was so nervous about doing anything. She came to ask me some advice. She didn't really want to come into the clinic. She wasn't sure if she wanted to go ahead with any treatment. And after a lot of tears, actually, I was very, very heartbroken to hear her story and how it's affected her so much. She lost all of her hair. She went through an awful process coming off of that drug. And this was what she was left with just a few days before we started her on the products. And I've put a little picture at the bottom there of the products that she's using. I gave her 2 bottles of the Ceramide, a postbiotic serum, Celtrex recovery fluid, daily protective lotion, Life Pack collagen, and the Marine Omegas. And truly, this is only about 3 months later, if that we have been able to completely transform her. And I just love, if you could see the look in her eyes, you would see that we've absolutely changed her life. Now, Steve very, very kind of directly told me that it cost them $1 million to make this product, and they need a $10 million return to have it as a staple in the portfolio. So I am asking you all to be able to appreciate the power of this incredible product, because you can use this on even the most compromised skin, truly like an open wound. I would put this product on, right? Because the power of the antimicrobial, the anti-inflammatory, the antibacterial effects that it has is so powerful that it gets the skin's healing response and repair system to basically supercharge. You can see from the clinical study, when it's paired with the boost, you get a 70% increase in transepidermal water loss, which is basically the barrier function. So you are promoting the skin support system by 70%, and that's just within a week of using the boost and the ceramides together, okay? When you pair the boost with all of the different pumps, the clinical outcome is phenomenal. Now, disclaimer is that the pictures that you see at the bottom are all of people within either my client base or my organization, and they are using other product alongside. They're not just using the boost. But you have got my phenomenal nurse, Nikki, on the end, and she was just using it for 7 days. And you can see the lightening, the brightening, the volume, the plumpness, the bounce, the clarity, the hydration, everything that we say that we do within this device is ticked. And then you've got Annabelle, who was suffering again with eczema and steroid withdrawal too. She is a huge avid user of the ceramides and the boost, and also the retinol serum. You've then got my client who's the third picture. This is my lovely lady Jess. Now, I was actually treating her for clinical grade acne for about 18 months. So we got her skin completely acne free. The picture you see in her before photo is still using the brands that I was using previously. She was left with the pigmentation, and this was about a year later. So you can appreciate that, you know, after treating her acne, getting her skin clear, we were still battling with the pigment. The picture you see on the right-hand side, where we have totally been able to change her skin tone, complexion, and deal with all of that post-inflammatory pigmentation, this is only about 6 weeks after introducing the Boost and the new skin products. And then you've all seen Amish, who has had a phenomenal glow up. His skin tone, texture, there's not a single line on his face. His forehead is just unbelievable. But he absolutely adores the Boost for its lightening and brightening ailments as well. So very powerful, one device, but 5 different products that can actually get you 10 plus different clinical outcomes. And even in the state where you are dealing with people that need, you know, good skin conditioning, they need saving, we have got this answer. What do we say now? It's time to tell the world. As you know, in the different markets, we've got huge price cut coming. Now, never in a million years, I've worked with 3 large manufacturers and distributors of skincare. I've never seen a price cut like this, ever. They might have a sale, and actually, even at best, it might be, you know, a gift with purchase, or it's when you spend X amount, you might get this free. I've never been able to work with a business that will give the power of the leaders or the sales force or the practitioners or the stockists the ability to go on and offer something so phenomenal as this. And actually, I thank Nu Skin for being so creative and innovative, not just for their product creation, but actually their marketing. And I think it's amazing to be able to have such an incredible impact, and also, you know, a two-way street. It's a two-way partnership. It's a relationship. They're ready to listen to the people on the ground to be able to make selling the product even more fun and even more achievable for us to all hit our goals. So make huge use of the offer that we've got. Obviously, everything that's going to fall into the ADR specials means that we're going to be able to really drive that revenue, that's long-term subscription revenue. That makes it easier to maintain your points. It makes it a streamlined service. I often refer to Nu Skin as being like the Amazon of skincare. I have multiple Amazon subscriptions, and it is just a life changer. It saves me an awful lot of time when I know that my children's fresh toothbrush heads arrive or their toothpaste comes. And this is another area where I think we are making skincare so easy and actually so effective from a logistic perspective, but also from a topical perspective as well. So just to reiterate, I really want to be able to show Steve what we are capable of doing when it comes to saving this product. In the ceramide and postbiotic serum, he said that I have his word that we have extended its life. I didn't really get, you know, fine-tuned confirmation for how long for, but the beauty of it is that I have the ability now to have a little bit more time. And I hope that that gives you all a little bit more empowerment and knowledge to be able to bring that product into people's regimes much sooner than perhaps what you would have done before. If I give you one bit of advice, if you get everybody's barrier function fixed and sorted and stable and strong, then you can bring in all the actives that you want, all the technology that you want, because the skin will be ready to accept it. You will minimize the downtimes, you will minimize irritations. If anybody is that slightly, you know, hypersensitive nature, by bringing in that ceramide serum right from the get-go, when you recommend a regime for somebody, you are going to be able to tolerate the boost, the galvanic, the retinol, the LumiSpa so much better just by having a supported barrier function. it can then be used as a bit of an SOS in people's regime as well. So, you know, if they don't need it every day because you've actually conquered their problem, then that's fine, but they can just have one there, because I can bet you any money, if they have a bit too much sun exposure through the summer months, their skin will feel a little bit compromised. If they have an accident, you know, if they get a graze, a burn, a cut, anything. I've had people that have had, you know, eyebrow waxes and it's taken off the skin. Ceramide and postbiotic helps the healing response. I've had people that have had perioral dermatitis, 3 days, gone. Urticaria, like hypoallergenic, it's exactly the same. And it's with thanks to a couple of the key ingredients that are in that product, ectoin being the main one, that really helps to support the cell repair and the anti-inflammatory effect that we can create within the skin. So that's it from me. I hope you all have an amazing I say pre-launch, but it's actually like a relaunch, isn't it? I know that my team have been driving pre-orders, but enjoy the price cut, because it's definitely one to be celebrated. You are all so lucky to have a brand that is prepared to do that for you. You know, what other company would come along and say, take one of our best-selling products and devices and put it out there to the world with 51% off? It's just phenomenal. You're going to be able to achieve such great before and afters. Really think about how you want your clients to take them so that you can utilize the pictures as well going forward, because the Boost is definitely a device that will give you a 7-day phenomenal before and after. And the more of those you can get, the more sales you're going to see too. Thank you so much, and I will see you all again soon.